In the heart of California's punk scene, a band emerged that would redefine the genre and stand as a symbol of punk integrity. Rancid, formed by Tim Armstrong and Matt Freeman, rose from the ashes of Operation Ivy, a ska punk band that electrified the 924 Gilman Street scene. With their raw sound, streetwise lyrics, and refusal to sell out, Rancid became a beacon for those who believed punk should remain independent. But their journey wasn't an easy one. From struggles with addiction to rejecting major label millions, this is the story of Rancid. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that bell icon and turn on notifications so you don't miss any punk history stories like this. Now, let's get started. The roots of Rancid, Albany to Gilman Street. Tim Armstrong grew up in Albany, California, just north of Berkeley. Despite living in a house his mother inherited, his family was poor. His father, an alcoholic maintenance man, lost his job, leaving his mother to support the family by working in a cookie factory. Tim and his brother Jeff would hang out at 7-Eleven, where they were introduced to punk by local misfits. Influenced by bands like The Clash, The Ramones, Dead Kennedys, and The Specials, Armstrong started playing music with his older brother Greg, who later joined the U.S. Army. It was during this time that Tim met Matt Freeman, a fellow punk fan who struggled to fit in. Freeman recalled being a short, overweight kid who got bullied, leading him to seek escape in punk music. He traded his school instruments, a trumpet and trombone, for a bass guitar, and never looked back. Their first real band, Operation Ivy, was born in 1987 alongside Jesse Michaels vocals and Dave Mello drums. The band became a cornerstone of a 924 Gilman Street project, a legendary all-ages DIY punk venue in Berkeley. Within a few years, Operation Ivy blew up in the Bay Area scene. Their 1989 album Energy, released on Lookout Records, became an underground classic. But success came at a price. Internal tensions and Armstrong's worsening substance abuse led to their breakup the same year the album dropped. The dark years and Rancid's birth. After Operation Ivy disbanded, Armstrong spiraled into drug addiction and alcoholism, overdosing at least 3 times by 1991. He burned bridges, struggled to keep jobs, and even lived at the Salvation Army, working to collect furniture and clothing while trying to get sober. Realizing he needed structure, Armstrong reached out to Matt Freeman, who was working at a truck rental company. The two decided to start fresh. They formed Rancid with 17-year-old drummer Brett Reed, despite his lack of experience. The trio played their first show within a week, and soon after, Lookout Records released their first 7-inch EP in 1992, Rancid's rise and Lars Fredriksson's arrival. A turning point came in 1993 when Brett Gurwitz, guitarist for Bad Religion and founder of Epitaph Records, signed Rancid. Without even hearing them, Gurwitz, a massive fan of Operation Ivy, told Armstrong, "I don't need to hear anything. Whatever your next project is, I'm in." That same year, Rancid dropped their self-titled debut album, solidifying their place in the punk scene. Wanting a fuller sound, Armstrong reached out to his friend Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, asking him to play second guitar. While Billy rehearsed with them, he ultimately stayed with Green Day, leading them to recruit Lars Fredriksson, a former UK Subs guitarist. But Lars almost got kicked out before playing a single show after a drunken stunt at a Green Day gig, where he exposed himself to the audience. Fredriksson, who battled his own substance abuse issues, later admitted, "Rancid saved my life." With Armstrong, Freeman, Reed, and Fredriksson, Rancid's definitive lineup was complete. Major labels come knocking. By 1994, Rancid's second album, Let's Go, gained mainstream traction, peaking at number 97 on the Billboard 200. Their single, Salvation, hit number 21 on the Modern Rock Tracks chart and got heavy MTV airplay. At the same time, punk was experiencing a massive resurgence thanks to Green Day and The Offspring. Major labels started circling, offering Rancid lucrative record deals. One of the most persistent was Madonna's Maverick Records, which was riding high on Candlebox's success. At one point, Madonna herself met with the band at Roseland in New York. A few days later, she sent them a nude Polaroid with a note that read, "Please sign with Maverick Records." Even Epic Records aggressively pursued them, with A&R legend Michael Goldstone, who signed Pearl Jam and Rage Against the Machine, personally courting the band. Rancid was hours away from signing a $1.5 million contract, including a $500,000 publishing deal. But then something changed, rejecting millions to stay punk. If Rancid had signed with a major label, they would have been banned from playing at Gilman Street, much like Green Day had been after signing with Reprise Records. The backlash from their punk peers was a real fear. The final straw came when Brett Gurewitz flew to meet them, telling Armstrong and Freeman, "No matter what happens, I love you guys." At that moment, they realized staying with Epitaph was the right choice. Armstrong later said, "Brett loved us. That's what it came down to." Epitaph, despite being an independent label, had proven its power, selling millions of copies of The Offspring's Smash, the biggest-selling indie album of all time. Rancid chose loyalty over money and independence over mainstream success. Even Tim's mom thought he was crazy for turning it down, but the gamble paid off. Legacy of punk integrity. In 1995, Rancid released their defining album, and Out Come the Wolves, featuring Ruby Soho, Time Bomb, and Roots Radicals. The album went platinum, proving that punk could stay independent and still thrive. Decades later, Rancid remains one of the most respected punk bands, not just for their music, but for their unwavering commitment to punk ethics. Their story is a reminder that success doesn't have to come at the cost of integrity. If you enjoyed this deep dive into punk history, let me know in the comments which band you'd like to see next. And don't forget to subscribe for more rock and punk stories. Thanks for watching and stay punk. Rockspire, God bless.